Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Sunday on this channel where we talk about all things sci-fi, fantasy, and comic book related. And today we're going to be breaking down the third episode of Agatha All Along. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so we do have to talk about Agatha All Along. And there are going to be spoilers in this video because we're going to be breaking down episode 3. So if you haven't seen episode 3, you might want to actually watch it before you watch this video. You can't really talk about the show, about each episode, without giving spoilers as context for what's going on. Not to mention, we're going to kind of break down what we think is going to happen in the future of the show. And in order to do that, there will be spoilers. So definitely consider watching the show before you watch this video and then coming back. Go ahead, hit pause, check it out, come back, we'll be waiting. That being said, if you don't care about spoilers, we urge you to continue watching because we are going to break down some really cool things. So, the name of the episode is Through the Many Miles of Tricks and Trials. And in order to reach the road, the Coven has to face their worst fears. So, they're going along the road and they come to this really nice house. There is a joke made about it being sort of this witch's house that is from a fairy tale. It's sort of a blink and you miss it note. One of the witches said she knew a witch who had a nice house once, and then these kids came along, or something to that effect. And I thought it was a really funny little remark. It's kind of like I said, a blink and you miss it type of thing, but it was amusing. Then they get into the house and they're instantly transformed into other versions of themselves. Like, they see themselves and each other as people who seem like they belong in this house. Their clothes are nicer and everything else. And as they're walking along in this house, they know that this is part of the trial. They find a clue. This clue tells them what to do, and of course the clue leads them to a bottle of wine, which they are supposed to drink. The object of the wine is to poison them and let them see their worst fears. So slowly they start to see the worst fears they have. There's a few jump scares here and there. It's kind of all psychological fears to each one individually, parts of their past that they'd probably rather not disclose. Even Agatha eventually gets there, although she doesn't get there as soon as all the rest of the characters for reasons that are, well, very Agatha. And once you see what everyone is sort of a little bit afraid of, the parts of their past, I feel this was a good episode in terms of making us feel like these characters are more realistic. It was nice because it gave us insight into each specific character and sort of let us know who they are as individuals. How did they get to this point? What might their wish be if they do reach the end of the road? Of course, we know that all of their wishes have to do with their powers, but could they in fact be more? Could they be thinking about elements of their past that they might like to fix? Or maybe they feel like this is a punishment. But in any case, facing their fears was what this task was, and it succeeds. Now, this episode moves a little bit slower than the rest, but it is very intriguing as they are poisoned by the wine and they have to come up with a cure. Now, they have to come up with a cure without using magic. So this is kind of where the episode kind of starts to take effect. It's about midway through the episode and they're trying to figure this out. And the funny thing is that it has more questions than it does answers. Because as the episode ends, there's a line uttered by Agatha that instantaneously started to make me think, how much control does the road have over the people who walk it? Now that's kind of the breakdown of the episode. I told you there would be spoilers, I'm trying to kind of keep those spoilers to a minimum as much as I can. And this is kind of the point in this video where now we're going to talk about what we think could happen within the show. So, like I said, there's a line uttered at the end of this episode that sort of made me think that the road itself may be more than meets the eye in terms of controlling what the people walking it are thinking. Being able to kind of control what they're thinking and what they're feeling, it could turn out that before the end of the season, we could see these witches turn on each other simply because the road is going to start pitting them against each other. I think that would be actually a pretty good thing. We know that it says that a group of people must walk the road. However, this group of people, if this group of witches is walking this road, how come there's not a record of anyone actually ever succeeding before? Agatha supposedly has succeeded in walking this road before, which is how she ended up possibly betraying everybody. But we don't know that for a fact. We don't know quite what happened there to how she ended up betraying her group of witches. But her coven of witches actually does seem like they are the seven. And the seven doesn't make an appearance in this episode, but the threat is still kind of there. The whole time they are kind of saying someone is chasing them, but I'm wondering if while they're on this road, it could be possible that they could start turning on each other. Because the way it's situated, it seems like these challenges are going to become more and more complicated. And if they're going to become more and more complicated, it's going to make everyone want to succeed even more. And only one person can have their wish, from what I understand. So, while Agatha's making it sound like everybody can have their wish and everybody can succeed, I'm not quite sure that's the truth, because if that's the truth, then how come Agatha is the only person to have succeeded in this before, apparently? That's kind of the hint I'm getting, is that she did this before and she succeeded. And if that's the case, then I don't think all of the witches survived. And I think it's going to kind of slowly turn the tides, and we're going to get less and less of them as the episodes go by. In other words, I fully expect someone to die every episode until it's only her and the teenage boy. Now, something really interesting did happen this episode. They mentioned that the boy can't say his name to other people because there's a sigil on his name. And Agatha says, why would I resort to using such a trick? In other words, Agatha doesn't know who did this. And I think that's going to become evident later on. We're going to have to see who in fact did this. Now, the name Mephisto is actually dropped in this episode. It is actually dropped in this episode, and I thought that was really interesting. It's kind of a blink and you miss it throwaway line, but that one little throwaway line, that one little comment, could actually prove to be devastating if that is who is waiting for them in the end. And I do think that they are going to have someone waiting for them in the end, an enemy that they haven't met yet. This series has been really interesting, and the more and more I get to know these characters, the more and more I actually like them. I think that this is going to be a fun series to continue watching. And I think that we're going to be pleasantly surprised by whatever the outcome is. Now, I did read something online that someone said that this series confirms that Scarlet Witch is dead. However, we already know that Scarlet Witch is not dead. They didn't show her in the first episode, or the second, or even the third. We did get mention of her in the first episode. However, I think it's completely plausible that the person at the end may also be Scarlet Witch. This could be the reverse to the showdown that we saw in the WandaVision TV series, with instead of Wanda versus Agatha, it is now Agatha versus the Scarlet Witch, which would make it really interesting as well. That would be a battle, and it would be a chance for them to sort of redo this battle, if you will. Because I know a lot of people really liked their fight, but then a lot of people also said they were mildly disappointed in how the fight went down. I think this is a chance for them to kind of revisit that, sort of a round two. So regardless of the person waiting for them at the end is Mephisto, or whether it is actually Scarlet Witch, I think someone is waiting for them at the end, and someone is controlling their path. And I do believe that no matter who that person is, the seven are kind of there as a minor threat. I don't think that the final battle is going to be the witches versus the seven. I don't think that's what it's going to be. I don't think that's what we're going to see here. I think that we're going to get to see them fight someone more powerful, someone that we already know in the MCU. And the Salem Seven, while they may be a threat, they are kind of somewhat created for this series, I believe. I don't ever remember actually reading about them specifically in the comics. It's not to say that they don't exist. They may actually exist, and some of the members may exist. But I think they are kind of a threat just for the TV show. And I think what we're going to see is a battle that's going to be much more familiar to us. Whether that is them fighting against Mephisto or whether that is them fighting Scarlet Witch. But I definitely think that the teenage boy is in fact a trap. He can't say his name because he has put this sigil on himself. And he's pretending not to know who did it. He is supposed to be a very powerful warlock. And that's kind of the thing here. Scarlet Witch's son is a powerful magic user. He could have put this on himself to cover his tracks, to make it seem like he is a victim in all this when he is leading them to face down the Scarlet Witch or Mephisto and help them defeat the Salem Seven because they're kind of this sort of in-between little minor enemy. I think that's kind of where they're going to go. But that is where I am going to leave it off to you guys. If you've seen this show, let me know what you think. Try to keep it kind of spoiler free, but let me know what you think and where you think it's going to go. What character do you want to see waiting for them at the end of the Witch's Road? We want to hear from you. As always, we want to know what you guys think, so make sure you are leaving us a comment in the comment box below, letting us know what you think. Don't forget to share this video with all of your friends. They're going to want to be a part of this conversation as well. And don't forget to hit that like button. It's free, it helps the channel, and we really do appreciate it. Then Miko says we need more subscribers, and look at this face. You don't want to disappoint Miko, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell while you're down there so you don't miss a single video we do. And then friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.